All right. I guess I gotta move the camera a little bit. Sorry about that. I had that fixed. Apparently not. Anyhow, uh, sorry for the lack of content recently, but Let's Talk got put on hiatus because of the change that Twitch did a few weeks back. I'm still working on figuring out how to circumvent that so we can keep doing the Let's Talk episodes for WWE events. And I haven't figured it out yet. So that's why Let's Talk has not been on. We have not canceled it. We have not decided not to do it. It's just, I'm trying to figure out some logistical stuff right now. But I did get to see The Flash, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I was hoping maybe Soda would have been on with me, but he's apparently still at work, and I just happened to get home early today, which is a rarity for me. But this is going to be heavy in spoilers, yet I don't know how else to talk about this because there's just way too much to talk about. And pretty much anything that I say will go and spoil things down the line because it's Flashpoint, so everything that happens snowballs into the next thing that happens. So we start out with the opening sequence is Barry is late for work and he wants his sandwich that he always gets, and the normal barista isn't there, and he has to deal with this other barista that's really slow and just wants to talk all the time. Kind of sounds like me. But he gets a phone call from Alfred that Bruce needs help, and at Gotham, what was it? Gotham Hospital. Stop a bank robbery gone wrong in Gotham City. No, that's not right. It was Gotham Hospital that was being robbed by the Falcons, if I remember correctly. And while Bruce is out catching the Falcons, then he is tasked with stopping the collapse of the hospital. And needless to say, the hospital does collapse and he has to rescue a bunch of babies. This sequence is completely weird as all get out. Full disclosure, I normally would have been very more critical of this movie. If I would have been into it with a normal mindset, but I had lost two friends this past weekend, and actually, the day I went to see this, I had found out that I had lost a friend overnight, and a coworker. So this movie was kind of like a mental escape. I just kind of turned my critical brain off and just watched the movie just to enjoy it and escape reality for a couple hours. In those eyes, the scene was highly enjoyable. In the eyes of the critic and somebody that likes his superhero movies a certain way, this scene sequence was not good. The CGI was terrible. We know we can do better, and we haven't. And trust me, CGI, I'll get to the CGI as we go here. Because it gets worse as we go. You would think it would get better, but it gets worse. So after that, he is late for work, and after he saves everybody, we get a surprise cameo from Wonder Woman, which was very nice. There is a very funny line that Barry says, "I'm not going to say it here. I want you to experience it when you watch it. It's really good." Um, Barry, of course, is still working on trying to get his dad out of prison for the murder of his mother. If you're familiar with the Flash story, this is an ongoing thing. Uh, he gets the video from Bruce and that he's been working on trying to clear up, and it doesn't help at all, unfortunately. And I'm trying to remember the sequence of events here. Iris ends up coming over to his apartment, who is reporter that is actually on the story of Barry's father's what is it called, appeal, and he is talking with Iris, and he has a realization after having talked with Bruce about uh, wanting to go back in time and save his mom and potentially save Bruce's parents. And Bruce says, if you've seen the trailers, he says about Barry could wreck everything. So Barry goes back in time, and he's going back to set things in motion to save Nora from dying. And then as he's getting ready to return to the present, he gets knocked out of the Speed Force by another speedster. This we got to talk about the CGI here. This is where the CGI gets bad, and this is where it continues to go bad. Is if you're familiar with the Flash TV show with Grant Gustin, the Speed Force, he ran through and he basically opened up a time warp, and we go back to the past or go to the future or wherever it was that he needed to go. This one, he's like in a stadium where he's in the middle and he's in the stadium. And he's running back through time. And as he's running back through time, the stadium, everything from the top is farthest in the past, and everything at the bottom is where he is currently. And as he's running, things just keep sucking into the center of the, what do they call it? Chronodome, I think is what they called it. Some weird name that I've never heard before. Let me see if I have that right. Chronodome. So here. No, I don't use this word here in this article. But I'm pretty sure I remember that word because I'm thinking to myself that was a weird name. Anyhow, so he gets knocked out of the Chronodome Speed Force, and he thinks he's back in the present, and he comes to find out he's actually 10 years in the past. And he finds out that he did save his mom, and he did save his dad from going to jail. And he ends up finding out that there's another Barry Allen, that he comes into contact with, which put him in the mindset that he is not back into the present, and he finds out that he's in 2013. And he's at the day that he is supposed to get his powers. And because Nora didn't die, he didn't become a forensic scientist. He is a pretty much a deadbeat college student. So he takes Barry to 2013 Barry. This is going to get a little confusing trying to explain this. He takes 2013 Barry, his younger self. That's what I was going to say. His younger self to the forensics department where he gets hit by lightning and gets hit by the chemicals, where he gets his speed. In the process, older Barry, current Barry, loses his speed. So, as he's trying to train younger Barry to use his powers properly and not create absolute chaos, which is exactly what he does to start with, they end up coming across the broadcast of General Zod preparing to invade Earth. This leads them to want to, this leads older Barry to want to put together the Justice League to stop Zod. He comes to find out that they cannot locate Wonder Woman. They find Cyborg, but he has not yet gained his abilities. And he finds out the Aquaman was never born. So they travel to Wayne Manor and hoping to find Bruce. But they end up finding the alternative older version of Bruce, which ends up being Michael Keaton, which we knew who it was already going to be because they gave it away in the trailers. So we have a kitchen fight scene where older Barry's getting his ass handed to him because obviously he doesn't have speed. Younger Barry, we reenact the whole Bruce throwing a batarang at our current Barry that we've been following, but instead of it being a batarang, it's a frying pan, and we get the whole in front of his face scene again. And they ask Bruce for help, and they're trying to understand what multiverse is and everything, and Bruce explains it to them by using spaghetti. And honestly, it's probably the most logical, non-complicated version of understanding time travel and multiversal theory that I've ever seen put to film. And it was a very ingenious way of doing it. I loved all of Michael Keaton's parts in this movie. Like, nostalgia factor through the goddamn roof. I had a few issues, nitpicks with him. Like, he doesn't want to help, even though he knows that Zod is a global threat. And he, pretty much immediately says no to helping them by just basically doing nothing. So the Barrys go down, they find the Batcave, and they get on Bruce's computers and use a backdoor connection through NASA to try to locate Superman. And they think they found him after current Barry, goes and talks into the camera and says about how he knows that he's being watched and listened to, and he doesn't quite understand exactly what's going on, but he does understand that what he did to get back in time to save his mom has spurred everything on a completely different path. and he's just asking Bruce for help to find Superman to stop Zod, basically at this point. And Bruce eventually caves in and gives him the information, and says to both the Barrys that he's going to help them find Superman, and basically going to help stop Zod. So they get to Russia, Siberia, whatever you want to call it, and they find Kara instead of Superman. And they rescue her, and she helps save them from getting massacred by the Russian military. And we go back to Wayne Manor, and Current Barry is asking Bruce to help. What in the hell? All right. Sorry about that. My computer just like had a power surge. But we have Current Barry asking Bruce for help about getting his powers back, and Bruce goes and says that it's crazy, but it accepts to help him anyways. And the first attempt all but kills Barry. Kara comes back, takes Barry up into a thunderstorm, gets his powers back, and says that she will help them fight Zod after Current Barry answers a few questions from Kara about what the symbol means on her chest, on her suit, and about why they saved her. And he said, because you need a saving. And apparently that's enough to make her want to help them. So they go towards Zod, and they start fighting the Kryptonian forces. And at first they're holding their own, but then they end up starting to lose. Kara confronts Zod directly, finds out that Zod killed Kal-El as a baby while they're trying to retrieve the Codex. That was the MacGuffin from the Man of Steel movie. And come to find out, actually, in this version, Kara is the one that has the Codex. And they fight. Kara loses. She gets the Codex extracted from her and dies. Bruce sacrifices himself to try to take out the Kryptonian ship. It fails. Both Barrys travel back in time to save their companions, friends, and they both fail a second time. And Current Barry asks Bruce that there's no way that they can bring him back, and he said, you already have, and then he dies a second time. Younger Barry is adamant about keep trying over and over and over and over and over again. I think they do it like 8 different times. You don't actually go through the movie with him again and do it again, but Current Barry standing there in the Chronodome, and Younger Barry just keeps going and going and going and going and going. And every time he comes back, he's a little bit more mutilated. He has a little bit more wounds, a little bit more shards of metal and whatnot within him. And eventually, Dark Flash, Black Flash shows up and confronts both Barrys. And he goes and he explains that he is actually currently the younger Barry that's trying to stop Bruce and Kara from dying. And he said he's so close to doing it. He's been doing it for decades to try to keep them from passing away. Well, he said the only thing that's stopping him from succeeding is the fact that our current Barry is in the way and will not let him finish the mission. And he goes to stab current Barry, and younger Barry steps in the way and goes and gets killed by his older self, which in turn wipes him out as well. So in the aftermath of all of this, Barry goes back, undoes what he did to save Nora, has a really heartfelt moment with her, and he ends up leaving. He makes one minor change before he leaves, though, and it ends up creating a present day where Henry's innocence gets proven. And as he's walking out of the courtroom, Barry gets in contact with Bruce, and this is the last real big cameo of the movie. I'm not going to spoil it, but Bruce is not Ben Affleck, I'll tell you that. And then it cuts to credits, and then we get a really weird scene with him and Aquaman, with Barry and Aquaman, and that's it. And that is how the DCEU pre-James Gunn ends. Because the next DCEU movie to come out is Blue Beetle, which is the first James Gunn-led DC movie. Now, like I said at the beginning, I went into this with a clouded mind because of things that have happened the past week with me. This past week's been rough, and I needed something just to turn my brain off for a couple hours, and this movie fit that bill. And for that, at that moment, I enjoyed this movie a lot. More so than I believed that I would. The Flash is my favorite DC hero. The drama with Ezra has always bothered me, and while I am not a fan of Ezra, I wanted to at least see what they did with this movie, because they did it right, and it was going to be a hard reset. Flashpoint is the perfect way to do it. So it's kind of one of them, you have to see this movie to understand what's going to happen later type movies, because it's going to set up the next thing. And they did not stick the landing on that. They did not do a hard reset at all, whatsoever. Two things that I wanted to come out of this movie is, one, I wanted them to hard reset and change the actor that was going to play Barry from this point forward. And with the Flash TV show ending, they had a very solid, perfect opportunity to have Grant Gustin go and continue to carry the Flash mantle. Granted, I know he's freshly off the show, but he's a great Flash. There's nothing you can do to say anything about that that's going to convince me otherwise. He's a great Flash. He emboldens the character of Barry Allen. Like, and I know I used emboldened wrong there, but I can't think of the word I want. But he is to Barry Allen what Robert Downey Jr. was to Tony Stark. I mean, he was born to play that role. It's simple as that. And nothing anybody tells me is going to change their mind on that. With that said, they didn't stick the landing whatsoever. They did not do a hard reset whatsoever. You were left with a bunch of what the hell moments right there at the end that are probably never going to get answered because we're redoing everything apparently with James Gunn. We could have easily made this feel like a continuation point and segue it into your universe instead of being part of the Zack Snyder universe. You could segue it into the James Gunn universe. Flashpoint's a perfect movie to do that with DC, and they didn't do it, which is a damn shame. So between them not replacing the actor for future roles and them not doing a complete reset, when I sit back and I think about this movie and I'm almost a week out from watching it, I'm very disappointed, to be honest. I don't even know how else to say it. I'm very disappointed. On a scale of 1 to 5, I'm giving this a 1.5. There are certain elements in this movie that I like. They did Flashpoint well. I'm not going to say they didn't. They did. Not as well as I would have liked them to do. But they did well in the parts they hit well on. But you really pretty much shoot yourself in the foot when you don't have the balls to push the hard reset button, and you don't have the balls to recast a troubled actor. I could probably make a whole other video on my thoughts about him. Is it him or they? I don't know. I heard people say they when they talk about Ezra Miller. I'm going to say him because the whole they thing, don't even get me started. But yeah, that troubled actor, troubled universe, whole lot of questions that could have been answered just by doing a few things, having the balls to do a few things. And they didn't do it. So my rating reflects that. I am not a fan of when you don't have the balls to do something. If you're not going to do it, don't do it. Don't half-ass it. You're either going to do it right or you're not going to do it at all. It's as simple as that. In the comments below, let me know what you think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if you don't care. It is what it is. I want to hear your opinions, though. So yeah, comment below, like, share the video. And before we go, if you want to support the channel, I have the QR code up here in the upper left corner of the screen. And there's another QR code for you as well. So whichever one's easier for you to scan. They're super, super easy. And also, I just noticed that when I put this the coffee one up, it pops up apparently in YouTube chat, which is cool. Also, if you're interested in any magic cards, I have a ton for sale. I'm currently in the middle of doing an inventory, but I do have the list listed right here at this QR code. So also that link was posted in the YouTube chat as well. So if you're interested in magic cards, there's where you go, see my collection, and also hit me up on Twitter and send me a message, let me know you're interested. Short of that, that's all I have for today. And once I figure out Let's Talk for WrestleMania, Raw and SmackDown, we'll be back with those as well. We're not stopping them. I just got to figure out how to work around some things. Once I figure that out, we'll be back. So, till then, have a good day. Enjoy the movies. And enjoy your TV shows. Also, recommendation, if you like anime, do yourself a favor. If you've not watched Dr. Stone yet, season 3 is, I think, midway through now. Watch seasons 1 and 2, and then immediately jump into 3. Dr. Stone is a great anime. So that is my anime recommendation for the week. Till then, talk to you later.